In our first dive into the DCAU, we're talking cats, claws, and cates because nothing says animated universe like flirty crime and mountain lions. Let's review The Cat and the Claw Part 1 and 2. Welcome to the Bat Signal Banter, where we sit down and talk about all the craziness that only happens in the DCAU. My name is Brandon. Along with me on this journey, he will be my co-host through this whole series. He is the Larry Legend himself. I had to bring that back, Darren. I know you. Please welcome my co-host for this Bat Signal Banter, Darren Soto. Darren, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So fans new to this channel, what we're going to be doing from here on out is once every month, we're going to kind of go over the different episodes throughout all the DCAU. And we're going to start off where it all began. We're going to start off with Batman the Animated Series. Now, Darren, before we go into what we're reviewing today, how did you get into Batman the Animated Series?
That's a very good question. I wish I knew. I just remember being a kid and like seeing it one day. So it's just like whenever it was on, I was like, cool, I'm gonna watch this. This looks really awesome. This is different than the Super Friends that like would be on Cartoon Network randomly. And I was like, wow, Batman is like so cool. Like that's what really got me into like Batman as a character and like the lore. But I can't tell you when I first saw it. I just know I was like, it was before the year 2000. I remember I was just a kid.
Yeah. What was it? I got into it at the age of 3. I was always going traveling back and forth with mom to work, and so at this time it was the Batman Adventures, along with Superman the animated series that was on the same
Right.
time. And so my mom used to find all these cassette tapes of different characters. So they would have like Joker, and it would give you like 4 of the most iconic episodes of the Joker, or Two Face, or Robin, or Batman. And my mom would used to give me all the toys too and stuff like that. So I used to play with all them while watching the show while she was working. And so sitting here watching them, and then like this has now become not just a show that I watch for my past. This is a show I usually watch on a regular. If it's once a year, I kind of do a run through all, and not only this, but all the animated series, and just to have something in the background, listen to it, enjoy watching what I'm watching, everything. And doing this with you, I'm glad we're getting to do this because we get to talk about stuff that we enjoyed, but maybe go behind the scenes a little bit. So that's kind of what I
Right.
want to do too with you. So, fans, where we're going to start this off with is the Cat and the Claw Part 1 and 2. Now, to kind of start off this conversation with Cat and the Claw Part 1 and 2, did you know this actually was not supposed to be the first episode aired of the series?
Yeah.
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 Do you know which one it was that it was supposed to be?
Um, I think it was on Leather Wings, right?
It was on Leather.
Yeah.
So why they made the decision to change to Cat in the Claw Part 1 instead of doing it on Leather Wings was because they were trying to capitalize on the hype of Catwoman being in Batman Returns. Now, the thing that doesn't make sense to me is why did they put Part 1 here and then Part 2 not till episode 8 when you have all these fillers? Heart of Ice, Speed of Clay Part 1 and 2 is in this mix, On Leather Wings, Nothing to Fear, like all these other big name episodes, and then you get Cat in the Claw Part 2. And it's like, what happened in Part 1? Like, I don't remember everything. Like, what was your take on that? And do you feel this was actually the best strategy for them, or do you feel they should have just kept On Leather Wings?
Um, I think that they should have just kept on Leather Wings, and I feel like the studio felt the same way because when you buy like the DVD box sets, when you go on to like IMDb or anything that tells you the order of the episodes,
Mhm.
it's always on Leather Wings first, and like the Cat and the Claw are like episodes 15 and 16.
Right. And that's the thing is that these, and you bring up a good point because they were the 15th and 16th episodes to be produced. And yet but they were the first one and the 8th episode to premiere. So it's so weird how they did it. I and because like even the weirdest one, we haven't gotten to the weirdest one. The second produced was Christmas with the Joker, and they didn't release till
Yeah.
like 20, 30 episodes into the series. So all this stuff is happening, and you can tell the differences because Harley's not in certain things, and then she's in other episodes. So it's but going with I don't know. I agree with you. I feel like on Leather Wings should have been the first episode for how strong that episode is and how powerful it is. Like, I think I can remember that episode completely because that made me crap my pants a lot. But that's going to the second episode. Again. We'll talk about that in the next episode of our series. But I feel
Fair
like
enough.
with this, I get why they did it, but this Catwoman is totally different than what Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman was. And despite
Right.
the differences, I don't know if I would have done that. I would have kept it a little later and let it develop the way it is. Because even with the love angle, which we'll talk about here too, it just kind of felt rushed. It was just like, yeah, throw it in. And it's like, why? But now let's talk about the love angle of Selena Kyle and Bruce Wayne, or should we say Batman or Catwoman? What was your take on that? What was your take on the love angle between the two of
I would say their relationship in it is very it's adventurous.
them?
It's dangerous. It's uncertain. And I feel like that's why they were really into each other the way that they were. From the first like chase that Batman had with Catwoman, saving her cat in the street, like their little banter, their like matching pace and everything, like their connection together was so raw for that. And but then it's like when they met in person, the feeling was only the same with Bruce when they were just like Selena and Bruce.
Mhm.
Like Bruce felt smitten immediately. Selena was like, ah, it's just another guy kind of thing. Until she got to know him, and then she was just like, oh, Bruce is kind of cool, but Batman is who I like. It's kind of like, you know, Black Cat in Spider-Man. It's like she loves Spider-Man, but Felicia did not really mess with Peter, you know? So it's like in these two episodes, that's kind of the energy that they were giving, except in like part two, Selena was starting to like actually be interested in Bruce more, especially after like him driving and getting away from the goons.
Like, exactly. Like you brought up one of my favorite points that I brought up was the first chase scene between the two because she's like, "Oh yeah, I escaped." And so, did you? And it's like Batman just
Hmm.
standing in the corner, like staring her down. That
Right.
that was scene was good. Like even that, or like my one is when they one of my other favorite scenes, and it's one of my favorite lines in the two episodes is when she falls off after Red Claw shoots the gun at the building and makes her fall, and Batman swoops in to pick her up and she
Hmm.
kisses him and she goes, you can't deny there's something between us. And Batman responds, "You're right, and I'm afraid it's the law." And it's such
Hmm.
a good line between the two because I enjoy I enjoy their relationship a lot. I do like Bruce and Selena or Batman and Catwoman because I do feel they are pretty much one and the same. But in reality
Hmm.
too, I also feel like it's affected comic book sense too, because even then you kind of get that love, like they love each other as Batman and Catwoman, but there are times they might not love each other as Bruce and Selena. And but they
Right.
still care for each other at multiple times. Like I like their dynamic, but I kind of felt like this is why I kind of wish they would have kept to the 15, 16 slots because I felt like you need to learn more about Batman to get in
Right.
this. And to this to be the first episode, oh hey, we're gonna introduce a love interest again. Here we go. But here's a good point. Now, this is gonna bring up another character that we might talk about later on with Mask of the Phantasm with
Oh yeah.
Andrea Beaumont.
That's my favorite.
What would you say that's his love of his life, or do you feel
Yeah.
Selena is?
100%.
You
100%.
put Beaumont as his love. Why did you
Yeah.
choose Beaumont
Like
over?
me and my wife, we both feel the same way. Like it's Bruce. Andrea was the only one that Bruce was willing to put it away.
Yeah,
Like so, and that's knowing like Batman as a character, knowing Bruce Wayne as a character, that's huge. Like he's had plenty of partners, he's had his flings, he's had injuries, he's had broken connections, and nothing would stop him from that. But like she was the one thing that was like the one person that was gonna be able to get him to get away. And she left for the reason of him to stay being Batman because she knew the world needed Batman and she would stop that.
Right. I
It's crazy.
and I agree with you. And the sad thing is, we did not get her in comics till Tom King's Batman Catwoman. She was
Yeah,
never in comics, other than maybe
she was
the
not.
animated series comic they did for a little bit. But not once did we get her in a mainstream comic till that point.
Because she was too good. She
It's
was like
like the
my whole thing is just like at least with comics, certain characters can't have a perfect foil. You can't have a perfect love interest for them because that gives them an out. Batman is a character that DC does not want to ever retire.
right.
As soon as Batman gets happy, he has to retire. It's done. Like he can't do that. Same with like, said it earlier, Peter Parker, like Batman and Spider-Man have so many like similarities, but it's like once Peter's happy and things are going good, his story ends. But Marvel doesn't want that to end. That's why, Aunt May dies or he loses Mary Jane or someone gets shot or like he feels guilty for not being at one place when he should have been. Batman, he loses a sidekick, Jason Todd. His love for Selina is so much, and then they have to break off the wedding. Joker comes back. He's like, I gotta do this. They can never stop because then those characters retire and they don't want to lose that money.
Like, I've always been the proponent of this. If I'm going to put it out there, I know we're supposed to talk about the Cat in the Claw part 1 and 2, which we will get back to. But this, to me, after watching it just recently, I went, wait a minute, why didn't they just do that to start things off? Because then that would have set up Joker really well.
Yeah.
It would have set up a lot of things so well. Now, mind you, that's why I said the Joker, and we'll get to that when we get to his episodes. Sometimes his stories, you can tell which ones were produced first compared to which ones weren't. But
Hmm.
it just kind of felt awkward at points, and I kind of felt like, especially the setup where he was actually one of that I can't remember the gang's name, but one of their henchmen,
Yeah.
and that I was like, why that would have been perfect to set that up with. And then later on bring in Selina Kyle and go, kinda like you pitched, like that's your MJ, but then there's your Black Cat situation. And have that
Yeah.
situation, I think it would have worked so well. But but
But they didn't want to use her.
yeah, God. And the sad thing is, you know what? I don't give Tom King a lot of credit about some things. I will give him credit for bringing back Phantasm. Till I thought
Mhm.
she is such an interesting character. Even the Justice League brings her back. The cartoon or the Justice League Unlimited brought her back for an episode.
Batman Beyond brought her back
Exactly, because
for that one moment.
they brought her back, and I remember they brought her back because they were trying to recreate Bruce through Terry,
Right.
and so they were trying to off his parents, and so she was tasked to do it, but she refused.
Right.
That's why I said this. I just wished this would have just stayed because at that point I might have gotten a little bit more invested into Selena and his
Hmm.
relationship compared to being kind of like forced down our throats for the first episode. And then
Yeah.
later on 8, where at that point you're like, what happened? Like, I don't remember what happened 8 episodes ago. I can't even remember what I did yesterday. But still. But talking about characters who weren't introduced in the comics till later on, let's talk about the Red Claw. Now, Red Claw, this was her first appearance, period. This was no comic book. And again, another character who did not get a comic book appearance till 2015 and Catwoman number 43 to be exact. I remember that issue and I went, why do I remember this character? And I go back, oh, yeah, I don't care. But that kind of gives you where I'm going with my next question. What was your take on the Red Claw?
Um, I like her.
You do.
I like the concept of the Red Claw. Like I love the fact that it's just like in that like that era where they're just like the leader is this woman who's just like, hey, I stole all these guns from the military and all these chemical weapons. And you know what? I'm tired of you. Also, spoiler warning for whoever hasn't seen these. I just yeah, but like but like when she catches Batman and Catwoman, and it's just like, hey, you know that thing I was gonna use on Gotham to like poison everybody? I'm just gonna use it on you two. And Batman's just like, but what about your plan?
Yeah.
She's like, placebo effect. They won't know anything. And it's just like, smart. That's a really smart play. I get it. And I also want to say she's like the first villain in memory like that asked for more than $1 million back then. She was like, I want $1 billion with a B.
We're gonna put
I'm
that
like,
yep
yo,
right
that's
here, right? $1 billion.
right. Like I was like, yeah, that's crazy money. Like from a cartoon in the 90s, you're like, 1 billion? What? That's great. Everybody asks for $1 million. So and it's like, and she was about it. Like she could fight, she was using guns. Like I think she is another character that just was like built for a purpose of just introducing them,
Mhm.
but like could have been made into something bigger. Just like Phantasm. It's like it shouldn't have taken, what, 20 years to bring them back. Where it's just like you know, we live in a world where people know about the Condiment King, and the Condiment
Yeah.
King is being used so much more. But then you're like, hey, have you heard of Red Claw? And they're like, who? Have you heard of the Phantasm? It's like,
Who's that?
is that a Scooby Doo villain? Like,
I that's a good and there's one part I will give props to. Props to Kate Mulgrew who voices the Red Claw. I thought the voice casting for this, which has never disappointed once. I don't want to ever say
right.
that because the voice casting for all the shows through the DCAU are fantastic. But I just kind of felt like wouldn't say I didn't mind her. Sometimes I just kind of forgot what the plot was at points and during the episode. That makes sense with her. Like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, we've got this mountain line resort. Oh, no, we're going to turn it into this resort. And then, oh, hey, we got this military base that's underneath it. And we got chemical weapons sitting in there with everything going on. We're going to kill Batman and I almost said Wonder Woman. We're going to kill Batman and Catwoman here in there with this plague, that has a fuse on it that just once it goes,
Yes.
it's just like, oh,
Comical fuses.
yeah.
Gotta love them.
But it gives me one of my favorite scenes in the whole episode is when Batman confronts Red Claw for the first time on the whim, and he sits there and she goes, Red Claw, woman, and she goes, you got a problem with that? And she goes, no, I'm an equal opportunity crime fighter. It's just like, what?
So it was so before its time.
Yeah.
It was so before its time.
But I believe she comes back in later in the series. It's only for like another episode. I don't think she's in it very much after this. But I just kind of wish they would have done more with her. I guess as a
I feel like they didn't because it's like you kind of like explain like kind of mentioned it
yeah,
where it's like she's more of a Catwoman problem,
right. Yep.
you know?
Right.
So it's like Catwoman never had a show. So it's up to like Catwoman product like personal stuff to be done, but it's like she's definitely a character that I would say is is wasted
Right.
because of that. Where it's just like the Cat in the Claw was about Batman and Catwoman.
Right.
So it's just like the whole show revolved around her, revolved around them, and they just needed a villain of the week. And then they created like the bones of a really solid character, like somebody that could be really cool, but you kind of like just gave them to blonde haired Catwoman. And it's just like Catwoman doesn't even stay blonde. So
Yeah.
here she is, and it's just like, all right. her character design changed and you just get put on the shelf because we're not going to use you ever again.
That's a good point to bring up with that. Like even going back to even kind of Catwoman and Batman here for a little bit, like even having like we've got the whole because they get a date, right? They're bidding
Hmm.
on to raise money for like pretty much they're trying to raise money for like animal causes and things like that as
Yeah,
and Selena's the one that bidded on Bruce for like 10 grand. I'm like, wow, if you could pop that money out, like, hey, I'll take, like I
especially in like what it takes place in like the 50s,
pretty much it's that
like
noir time frame. Like, yeah,
right with like Tommy guns and everything, just to be like 10 grand. I'm like, that's
that's a little
astronomical.
like you know just as much as me when we get into the other DCAU shows. All the shows timelines are like, where are we sitting year wise in this? Because one second we're here, but the next minute we're in the 90s kind of thing with Superman. And then we go in the
Yeah,
2000s with Justice. It's all over the place. The timelines can get a little mixed up here. Like I just
I don't know.
I you get that she wins the bid, but then she doesn't really show interest in him. And even like I kind of liked how she says, "Well, I wish it was Batman," like the whole time. And then she goes, "Well, unless you can give me," because she gets the call when Bruce shows up for their first date,
Hmm.
and he goes, "What was it?" She gets pretty much is told that they're pulling the funding for the Mountain Lion Resort or the
Right.
for this new resort. And so she's like, unless you can give me a meeting with him, and she just pulls out the phone, like, when do you want it at? What time works best for you? It's just like that to
Yep.
me, I've always loved that type of Bruce Wayne. That's the playboy side of him. That is like, hey, look, I have connections. I will do whatever I can to make something happen. And
I am Bruce Wayne.
well, I am Bruce Wayne. I just I just like I said, I just felt like even the ending song or the ending part of it with her finally being arrested at the end of episode 2, which
Hmm.
spoiler alert, if you guys don't know. It kind of leads back to what you said in the beginning. If it's not me who unmasks you, the cops will.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is, he didn't even have to unmask her and he knew right away who it was. Like that's just because he gets a cat hair off. And then
I mean, if anything, the way that the cat and the claw like progresses, you would think that Catwoman was a one-off character
yeah,
because like the claw, her henchmen figure out who she is.
yeah.
Like, so it's just like, all right, there's no mystery here. Everybody knows who you are. Like, you're done. Like, while Batman is just like, you're not gonna catch me like that. But like, here you go. You got to go to jail.
Well, like even then, like going to the henchman because there was a scene where the henchman, has been stalking her and then goes in to try to attack. But what he doesn't know is he's attacking the assistant to a sleep.
Right.
In her run to the door and her like, oh, I gotta, and then took you 3 times to realize there's a chain on the door, and then you go, oh, here, and then by the time it's like, I'm like, it took you 3 times. 3 times.
That's adrenaline, man. Like, you're just getting shot at by people in your apartment, which is in a high rise, and people shouldn't even be able to get up here. So
It just, that's why I said, like, there were parts of me that really enjoyed this episode. There were parts of me that didn't. The last big point, I think you'll like this because you being an artist, I kind of figured you might like this part of it. The scene where Red Claw's going over her plans and she's sitting in front
mhm,
of that projector and all the screens shooting at her. The director of
mhm,
this episode, Kevin Altieri, calls this scene literally it's like these projected images are an impossible bit of animation. The way they set that up, because you can see it, it looks kind of not 3D-ish, but you can kind of see like as we
right.
go over her, it's so weird how it looks. But for them to pull that off, that was a big thing for them. I know that's what, and we'll kind of talk about throughout the series because different animation studios did help out with different episodes,
Yeah.
including the THO, which I believe is the company who does Akira, comes in to help out on certain points, especially in Feet of Clay, was one of the biggest ones. Like just to see these moments with them in this episode with that. Just kind of see like some of my favorite shots, like Catwoman jumping off the buildings. I just
Right.
love that shot underneath it because it just shows you Gotham's city skylines underneath her, and she's just going. But my thing was when she uses the whip to whip herself up and how fast she was going, and then it's like, oh yeah, I stuck the landing, but I lost my whip. Yay, kind of thing. But the cat around her neck was kind of a weird thing for me too, because I was like, okay. And then how she uses it to actually sneak in to steal things, I'm like, or cat that's like clever. I like that. Well,
Yeah.
it's
Really using the motif.
like even like I love the scene. This might sound stupid, but like when the cat goes in the beginning of the part one and you see the eyes go from like a little crescent moon to like full, I was like,
Right.
that's actually a really cool scene how they did it. And I was like, okay, I can get behind that. Like you can kind of see I'm not talking about part two a lot because it's one of my probably going to be one of my worst rated episodes because I just felt part two was rushed. It was just like, oh, throw it all together. Yep, Batman got caught. So Catwoman. Up, the plague's going. Up, Batman gets out and then uses fuel to burn it out. End of story.
I mean, they had to finish it. And we can't say that there weren't like really cool action
Oh
scenes in
yeah,
there.
I agree with that.
And then it's seeing Batman's conviction to actually arrest her.
Well, like even
Yeah.
Gordon in these episodes too made me laugh. He's like, what was it? He goes, "What if it's a military train?" Because that was the whole thing. Is he gets the tip that you know somebody's going after the Red Claw might be going after a train
Mhm.
shipment, and but they don't. It's like Gordon goes, "Well, I would have been notified of that," and he goes, "What if it's a government train?" He goes, "Wouldn't be the first damn feds," and it's he's still, and and then of course it is, and even the soldiers in there are like, "Why do we have to defend a plague? Like, what's the point in this? Like, what is this?" And then leave it to them, like right where Batman said he was gonna be. I'm like, shocker.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of those, especially like cartoons and like series around that time, they're just like, just do it because I said it. It's just like, but that don't track. Like, why?
Yeah. Well, see, that's why I wanted to bring up the first question I did to you with the whole was this the right choice to move it to episode one and leave on Leather Wings to be episode two? Because I kind of feel like if Leather Wings, yeah, I get it why they did because Man Bat's not a well known villain compared to somebody like Catwoman. But the whole point of it was for Bruce Timm was to make it kind of a scarier universe. It's not your
Yeah,
typical, "Oh, I'm just here. Oh, I'm gonna stop you," kind of thing. No, it was meant to be because again, hint to next episode, I literally cracked my pants as a kid watching that, especially the transformation scene. And
it's it definitely works as a tone setter,
yeah,
you know. And that I think that's what a lot of episode ones and pilots
mm,
are supposed to do. It's like you want to be introduced to what the show is going to be
right.
rather than being shown pieces of the show that don't necessarily show the underbelly of what you're trying to do.
Agreed.
Um, because it's kind of like if Avatar: The Last Airbender, like episode one was just the Cabbage Man's cart being like knocked over. You know, if that was all we saw versus like episode one where Aang comes out of the ice, you're seeing the Fire Nation destroy everything. His powers act like we see what the show is, but then it's like we see Cabbage Man and we're just like, so this guy gets bullied because he sells cabbages, like, and that's a little bit of what the Cat in the Claw is. It's like, okay, we see that it's like still crime, still gritty, but then there's this love aspect of it.
Mm,
And we're like, oh, okay, so is this going to be a consistent back and forth? Like, that's what you would assume with that being episode one. And then you see the rest of the series and you're like, oh, no, there's like supernatural elements. We're seeing like the intelligence of Bruce. We're seeing why people want Bruce, but why Batman still thrives. We're seeing his capabilities with dealing with things that people normally can't do, and that's what On Leather Wings was. It set the tone perfectly for what the series was supposed to be.
And that's what we said too. It's like when you look at the next like 6 episodes that come in between part 1 and part 2, those are some of the
Mhm.
most iconic episodes of the series. You have Heart of Ice,
Yeah,
Leather Wings, Feet of Clay. You have Nothing to Fear. I believe you get your first Joker episode in between. I believe
yeah.
it, yeah, it just showcases how big that series was, and I think On Leather Wings, if they didn't change it, I don't think would have changed the outcome of this being one of the best animated, if not the best animated show ever.
It's the best thing DC's done.
Yeah, like, and that's why I said without this, you wouldn't have all the other shows. You wouldn't have Superman, you wouldn't
Mm.
have Justice League, Batman Beyond, all that. And that's why I kinda always thought it's like, I just don't think Cat in the Claw should have been your first episode you should have focused on. I get the whole marketing, I get it. Michelle Pfeiffer, Catwoman, hey, you know, love you. But, that's not how you do this. It's a whole different universe. It's not the movie universe. It is
No.
this whole new universe that Bruce, Tim, and Paul Dini, everybody had a hand in making. And this to me just was not like, but let's go into our rankings of this episode. Darren, where do you rank part 1 on a scale of 1 to 10? And where do you rank part 2?
Part part 1, I would give it like, I would give it an 8. Like, I would give it an 8. I liked it. Like, again, like, to start the series, no, it's a very good palate cleanser episode that leads you into the introduction of other characters, because Catwoman's great. I do like the whole subplot of, like, why she's doing it. Um, Kinda doesn't explain her still being a cat burglar, because she's still be stealing. But, like, Uh, I like the Red Claw. I like what she could have been. I like Bruce and their meeting. I think part 1 is a good solid 8.
Mhm.
Um, Part 2, I'm not mad at it. It's still interesting. I just don't it's not as strong as a start. So I'll give it like a 7.
Okay.
Like, it's me personally, none of the Batman the Animated Series episodes that I remember are below a 7.
Yeah.
Like, they're all like really good in their own rights. Um, so I would say like 8 for episode 1, 7 episode 2.
Okay. I so part 1 for me was a 7. And the reason is I think for me, it's like you said, the setup for Red Claw in this was perfect. I thought the way they set it up was more intimidating. Then once you get to
Mhm.
part 2, I think that's where it fell off for me because it was just like, just another villain, like, "Oh, I got this ploy. Oh, I got this." Like, it's like it didn't feel as intimidating as what you saw in the first episode with her. And
Right.
Catwoman was amazing in both episodes. I will never deplete it on that. Both episodes, she was I look at her as the main star for both episodes. Like, to me,
Yeah.
being her character more than Bruce, I kinda liked her more. Like, it fit her to be the main focus of both episodes. Um, and like I said, the whole setup and everything was so well done in the first episode. Part 2 comes, and that's kinda when I went, "I don't care about these 2 episodes." And I'll admit, part 2 is what kinda ranked part 1 lower for me. Um,
Mm.
because I originally, when I watched part 1 again, I ranked it at I think it was like an 8, 8.5. And
Mhm.
then when I saw part 2, it's like, that whole payoff is what set this to me going, "No, I can't do it."
Okay.
And part 2, I did give a 6.5. There was a lot of stuff I wish they woulda settled. I wish there was stuff that they woulda continued, like you said, the cat burglar scene to some of the stuff that takes place. It just felt like too many things that are happening at once and them
Right.
focusing on a main thing. And I feel like that was one of the biggest things to me. Like like you said, the cat burglar part, but then you go, "Oh, well, now she's trying to save this animal refuge for mountain lions," and then nothing else happens. It's just like, "Okay, where do we go from here to here now?" Like, it's just all over to me at that point, and I get it. Not all episodes are gonna be good, But the thing is, it's like you said, it's there's not a lot of low points in the series. It's yeah,
No.
there's gonna be downer episodes where it's like, here we go again. Like, I don't know if I want to watch this again. But then there are episodes just like the next few we're gonna cover that are just intense. It is more dramatic. It's more storytelling.
I think it sets it up really well.
Yeah,
Um, like for what Catwoman could be in the future. Like I think that's why it's like I can't go a 6 because I'm just like it did bring a lot of light to who she could be and what we could expect to see from her, especially like since now that she's arrested and she's gonna be treated as a criminal now. Like now she has to steal more. She's joining that Gotham underbelly. So it's just like Batman created a new villain for himself. So it's
Batman
just like,
creating his
okay,
own
cool. I'm with this.
Batman creating his own villains. What's new now? Just messy.
Yeah.
but
He
but yeah, I'm glad we got to do our first episode of the Bat Signal Banter. Fans, let us know what you guys think about Captain Claw Part 1 and 2. What's your guys' ranking for this episode? What did you like? What did you not like about these episodes? You want to hear that in the comments. And you can check us out on Instagram and TikTok. You can follow us on the DC Comic Talker, where we're going to be posting all this stuff out there and having fun with it. Um, you can check out Darren. Darren, tell the fans where they can find you at.
you can find me at Orange Tea Studios on Instagram, TikTok. You can find me on my website, orangeteastudios.com. And yeah, that's all I am for right now.
Awesome, awesome. Fans, remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Remember to hit the like button if you like this content and hit the bell notification so you never miss an episode. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. And remember, may DC always be the top of your discussion.